Jó reggelt kívánok! Hogy vagy? Jó? Hmm. Boy, that's good. You know, I woke up this morning chomping at the bit. Interestingly enough, I didn't get to bed till after 11 last night. It was date night last night. Didn't get to bed till after 11 and woke up, I woke up just after, I think just after 4 or something like that. And my brain started thinking, you know, which is always dangerous. For those of you that follow the techie side of me, go to if you care to go to my client, the www.abcautocare.com, and click on offers up at the top. Click on offers, and I spent the better part of 3-4 days going through Firestone. You know, Firestone's a large chain of auto repair shops. Going through the Firestone website and looking at all their quote unquote coupons or special offers, and putting together templates so my clients can log into the back end of their website and just with the click of a mouse add a coupon for, you know, whatever, lifetime alignment or oil change or AC performance check or you know, any one of a number of things. And it actually came out rather nice. You tell me. You know, abcautocare.com/offers, OFFERS. But the one thing I need to add is the ability to text to phone. You know, to send a text to a phone number. You know, you go and you see a coupon and there's a button that says text to phone, and you gotta type in a mobile number or you gotta type in a phone number, and then you submit it. And when they submit it, then what I need to do is I first need to write a program that makes sure it is a mobile number and not a landline and not a, you know, whatever. And then once I do find out or confirm it's a mobile number, I have to find out who the carrier is. So, you know, Verizon or AT&T or Vodafone or T-Mobile or whatever. And then I have to figure out how to send the text to that particular carrier. And this all happens in milliseconds, mind you. You know, milliseconds. Anyway, that's what. So I got up and I'm just chomping at the bit to work on that. But anyway, you know, last night's date night with Rosanna, I gotta tell you, you know, I wasn't joking last week when I was saying that I was a bit smitten with her. You know, I mean, you know, what's interesting is that her and I are so different in so many ways. We are, you know, she's not a Christian. You know, she's not a Christian. She meditates, you know, but she's not a Christian. And that's okay. You know, I don't push my faith on people and what have you. And I'm sure there are those out there that, you know, would have me would have me date nothing other than a Christian. But anyway, and then I think politically we're kind of on the same page. I don't know how much into, she's been in the United States 19 years, so that's probably enough to form an opinion, you know, politically and insofar as the spectrum of our politics. But you know, financially, you know, I don't know. I went to her work the other day. Rosanna works for her ex-husband, and her ex-husband owns this used car dealership. And it's not just any used car dealership. It's a car dealership that sells Rolls Royces, Mercedes, BMWs, Bentleys, Porsches, you know, all this kind of stuff. And And I went down to take her flowers the other day and to say hello to her. And 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 as I walked around the property, she gave me a tour. She walked around. As I walked around the property, I couldn't help but to think, for somebody to have this type of business and this type of, you know, property and all that kind of stuff, it's got to be really, really well off. And I started thinking to myself that, Rosanna must be accustomed. She must be accustomed to a very nice, type of lifestyle, very well-to-do, well-off, lifestyle. And I thought to myself, I can't compete with this. I can't. And, hmm. And I told her that. Yesterday, and I told her that, and she kind of laughed, and she told me that I make as much or more, than her ex-husband does. But anyway, it's always you're always looking at other people, thinking that they're in a better position than you, or what have you, and when in fact they're, more times than not, they're not in a better position. But boy, I got to tell you, I really, all that aside, I really adore, uh, I really adore Rosanna. She makes me laugh. She's a good sport. She doesn't take any crap. That's what I appreciate in a woman. A woman that, just doesn't take any crap, from you, and keeps you on the straight and narrow. Although I don't know why she didn't tell me to take my hat off in the restaurant yesterday. I know that somebody made a comment about me, wearing my hat, and a gentleman would take his hat off. And I got to tell you, whoever that was that made that comment, you're absolutely right. And I'm all about constructive criticism. I'm all about, people telling me things that are ultimately intended to make me a better person, an all-around better person. So I can take constructive criticism with the best of them, if it's intended to make me a better person. It's just the little jabs when people give you the little subtle, jabs, or the little personal attacks that aren't intended to make you a better person, but are intended to bring you down, to attack you, to bring you down. That's the type of criticism that I have very little patience for. But taking my hat off, a gentleman would take his hat off inside. You're absolutely right. And I learned that in the military. I knew that that was one of the first things you learn when you're a soldier, that you take your hat off inside. But joining the military was probably one of the best things I ever did in my life. Was joining the military. I joined the military right out of high school, more or less as an escape. I joined the military as an escape. I grew up in a family of 10, right on the shore of Lake Erie, outside of Cleveland. And my parents didn't have the financial means by which to send us off to college. And some of my older brother, he went off to work for a factory. He didn't go to school. He went off to work for a factory, and what have you. And I didn't want to go that route. I wanted to see the world, and I joined the military. And I was a 91 Bravo, also known as a pecker checker, and a medical specialist in the infantry, what they used to call me used to call me a pecker checker or a doc, or they'd call me doc. But the military, I look back on the military. The military taught me. It took an 18-year-old boy and made a somewhat of a man out of me, teaching me a lot of manners, a lot of things like punctuality and what have you. But anyway, um, back to Rosanna. I adore her to death, and I tell her as much. I mean, I yesterday I was telling her, I say, I said, I'm really proud. I said, it's flattering. I said, every time I get another date with you, every time I get another date with you, it's just so, it's so flattering, that a woman such as yourself, would want to be with me. And walking by her side, walking by her side down the pier last night and what have you. I think you look at my video, you can see it in my face. You can see the happiness. You can see the happiness in my face. So anyway, time will tell. Time will tell what will come of meeting Rosanna. I don't know. I have my heart set. I have my heart set on going down under this winter, for the better part of 2 months, 3 months, or something like that. And so, maybe there's something to be said to the saying that distance makes the heart grow fonder, something like that. But I think I'm going to take Oksana's advice and just don't overthink things. Just don't overthink things. Just enjoy the moment. And the moment is Rosanna coming over today, and we're going to make pizza. We're going to make pizza and salad and watch a movie, and I think I'll make some upside down pineapple cake that I didn't make last week, and we'll have some pineapple upside down cake for dessert. But anyway, but that's that's a good part of what's on my mind today. I woke up today, and as I often do, before I go to bed, I shouldn't do this, but before I go to bed, I'll read the news. I usually go to Fox News, and I read the news on my app on Fox. And oftentimes I'll wake up in the morning and read, Fox News. And as I laid there this morning reading the news, I found myself thinking about something, and that is, I've often said that the most valuable thing that you can have in your life, one of the most valuable things, faith is right up there at the top, in my opinion. But faith and hope. You got to have hope. And as I sit there and I read the news, I got to tell you that I don't have a lot of hope for humanity. I read this stuff, and I just think about the world that we live in. And you'd like to wake up every day and think that there's hope that somehow, some way, the world is going to work out all of this divisiveness, between the left and the right, and they're going to clearly identify if there is anything such as man-made global warming, and what else is just all the other crap that goes on in this world. And I found myself thinking back. I'm old enough now, and I'm sure there's a lot of you that watch these videos that you can reflect back on your lives as well. I find myself looking back on my life, and I was born in '63, so I have a very vague recollection. I have a very vague recollection of the '60s. The tumultuous '60s, with the Vietnam era and the Cold War and all that type of stuff. And then, the '70s, for the better part of the '70s, I was a child. I was caught up in my own caught up in my own little world, but globally, I remember or nationally, if you will, the Vietnam War ended in the early 70s, and then we had the big gas recession and long lines, people waiting for gas and all that stuff. And then came the 80s, the wonderful 80s. And the 80s, as I recall, after the Vietnam War ended, you had these little, global skirmishes or what have you in the 70s, and you had the Iran hostage crisis and what have you. You had these little, maybe not little things, but you had these various things popping up. And then come the 80s, the era of Ronald Reagan, and the 80s, to the best of my recollection, that's when I was in the military. And that's when I started to teach myself web design and whatever. But even back in the 80s, you didn't get the sense that the world was going to hell in a handbasket. And then come the 90s, the era of I did not have sex with that woman. I did not have, the good old 90s, with the dress, the whole thing with the dress and what have you. But again, in the 90s, I don't recall that the world seemed to be going to hell in a handbasket. And that brought us into the 21st century. But anyway, I guess the point being is, you just look at all the crap that's going on in the world, and you didn't, people will be quick to say, well, there's always been this, the world has always been the world's always been a conflict. The world, it's just the way of the world, so to speak. But you know what? The stakes have never been higher. The stakes have never been higher, and the ability for adversaries to wreak havoc, like knocking out an entire power grid, or introducing some type of a whatever you want to call it. Anyway, I'm babbling at this point in time, but you get the point. And it's just it's just interesting. You can so easily get caught up in your own little world. You get caught up in dealing with your own little world, and you just kind of shut the bigger world out. But those of you folks that have a few years on me, that grew up and spent time in the 40s, the 50s, you were growing up you were living in the 60s. Did you have the same sense of hopelessness for the future back then? I would imagine people living during World War II, probably had that sense that life as they know it would never get better. But anyway, those were just the that was just the thought. One of the thoughts going through my mind as I start my day. And anyway, I got to get the house straightened up because Rosanna's coming over. But all right, so that's about it for my. Sorry if that's a down. Seems like a down note to share, but you just never know what's going to pop in my head each day. But Alexa, what's the question of the day?
Welcome back. Here is today's question of the day. The topic is history. It is worth 5 points. In ancient Egypt, which of the following organs was left inside a body during the mummification process? You can answer A, heart, B, liver, C, lungs. or D, stomach?
What is the heart?
Spot on. You have earned your 5th history badge and 5 points. Ancient Egyptians believed the heart was the center of emotion and intelligence, and that it recorded a person's actions. Unlike other organs that were removed, the heart was left inside the body during the mummification process, so that the gods could later judge the person's character. You are with the 51% of users who answered this question correctly.
You see, folks, Tom TV, it's not only entertaining or thought-provoking, it's educational. You see, it's educational. You learn something every day. like the heart was the only organ left in the body during mummification in Egyptian times. I bet you didn't know that. So all right, the thought of what is the high hope for the day? Daydream. It helps you to break out of your bubble. It allows you to explore possibilities untrammeled by current problems. It encourages you to time travel, to enter others' minds and to look into the distance. Daydream. And the quote is, "He does not need opium. He has the gift of reverie." He does not need opium. He has the gift of reverie. So there you have it. Anyway, have a nice day, everyone. Take good care. Okay. Bye bye.